The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, written by Mark Twain, tells the story of a young boy named Huck Finn who embarks on a thrilling journey down the Mississippi River. Set in the American South before the Civil War, the novel explores themes of freedom, friendship, and the fight against societal norms. Huck Finn, a poor boy with a mischievous streak, lives with the widow Douglas, who tries to civilize him with lessons and manners. Despite her efforts, Huck prefers adventure over rules. When Huck's abusive, alcoholic father, Pap, returns to town to claim him, Huck's life takes a dark turn. Pap kidnaps Huck and locks him in a cabin. Desperate to escape his father's cruelty, Huck fakes his own death, slipping away from his old life to find freedom. Huck's early life and escape. The story begins with young Huckleberry Huck Finn, a poor, mischievous boy living in the fictional town of St. Petersburg, Missouri. Huck is no stranger to hardship. He's raised by the widow Douglas, who, along with her sister Miss Watson, tries to teach Huck religion, manners, and schooling. Though he tries to adapt, Huck feels restricted by this lifestyle. He's accustomed to freedom and prefers his old ways of living outdoors and going on adventures. Huck's life takes a dark turn when his father, Pap Finn, an abusive and alcoholic drifter, shows up in town. Pap has been absent for much of Huck's life, but now he's back, primarily interested in taking control of Huck's money. Wealth Huck gained with his friend Tom Sawyer from their previous adventures. Pap's return is anything but a joyous reunion. He kidnaps Huck, locking him in a remote cabin and subjecting him to physical and emotional abuse. Desperate to escape, Huck fakes his own death by staging a scene that makes it look like he was murdered. He slips away down the river, relishing his newfound freedom. Meeting Jim and the journey. Down the river. While hiding out on Jackson Island, Huck encounters Jim, a runaway slave who used to work for Miss Watson. Jim is escaping because he overheard that Miss Watson plans to sell him to a plantation in the Deep South, which would permanently separate him from his family. Huck is initially shocked. He's been taught that helping a runaway slave is wrong, but he soon finds himself sympathizing with Jim and promises to keep his secret. Together, they embark on a raft down the Mississippi River, seeking freedom, Huck from societal constraints and Jim from slavery. As they travel, Huck and Jim's relationship deepens. Huck starts seeing Jim as a friend and equal, not just a slave. Jim becomes a surrogate father figure to Huck, providing guidance, warmth, and friendship. Huck's perception of race and morality begins to change, especially as he experiences Jim's loyalty and selflessness. They become a team, protecting and caring for each other despite the many dangers they encounter on their journey. Adventures and encounters along the way. Huck and Jim's journey is filled with encounters that test their friendship and challenge Huck's morals. They meet various characters along the river, each representing different facets of society and its flaws. One of the most intense encounters involves a violent family feud between the Grangerfords and Shepherdsons, two families locked in a senseless, deadly rivalry. Huck is initially charmed by the Grangerfords' wealth and sophistication, but he's horrified to witness the destructive consequences of their feud. This episode highlights the irrationality of human pride and violence, showing Huck another side of society's hypocrisy. Another central episode involves two con men, the Duke and the King, who join Huck and Jim on the raft, taking advantage of their hospitality. These two swindlers engage in various scams, pretending to be heirs to a family fortune and putting on sham performances to swindle money from townspeople. Huck realizes they're despicable and tries to outsmart them, but he's forced to tolerate their presence to keep Jim safe. Through these encounters, Huck begins to see the depth of human greed and cruelty, further questioning society's morals. Huck's moral dilemma. As Huck and Jim get closer to the Free States, Huck grapples with a powerful moral dilemma. He's been raised to believe that helping a runaway slave is not only illegal, but sinful. Influenced by the teachings of his community, Huck feels a profound guilt, believing that he's doing something deeply wrong. At one point, he even considers writing a letter to Miss Watson to tell her where Jim is. However, Huck's internal struggle reaches a breaking point. He realizes that he can't betray Jim, who has become his true friend and companion. In a defining moment, Huck decides, "All right then, I'll go to hell," choosing to protect Jim even if he believes it means eternal damnation. This decision is significant. It marks Huck's rejection of society's distorted morals in favor of his own developing sense of right and wrong. His loyalty to Jim demonstrates the depth of their friendship and Huck's growth beyond the narrow beliefs he was raised with. The final rescue and resolution. Huck's journey is disrupted when Jim is captured by bounty hunters who intend to return him to his owner. Determined to rescue his friend, Huck sets out to find help. To his surprise, he runs into his old friend Tom Sawyer, who agrees to join in the rescue mission. Tom insists on executing an elaborate theatrical plan to free Jim, filled with unnecessary risks and convoluted steps, as if it were part of a grand adventure story. Unbeknownst to Huck, Tom knows that Miss Watson has died and freed Jim in her will, meaning Jim is legally free. Tom's elaborate rescue attempt is revealed as a game he played purely for the thrill of it, disregarding Jim's real fear and suffering. This sequence illustrates Tom's immaturity and the privilege of his position compared to Huck's and Jim's more serious struggles. When the truth comes out, Jim is officially free, but Huck is left disillusioned by Tom's reckless insensitivity. Huck's decision to seek freedom. The novel concludes with Huck contemplating his future. Aunt Sally, Tom's aunt, plans to adopt and civilize him, just as the widow Douglas had attempted before. However, Huck decides that he cannot return to a life of restriction and conformity. He resolves to light out for the territory, heading westward to seek a life free from societal constraints. Huck's journey down the river has profoundly shaped him, teaching him about loyalty, the flaws of society, and the value of following his own conscience. The Mississippi River, a symbol of freedom and escape, also represents Huck's journey toward self-discovery and moral independence. Through his adventures with Jim, Huck comes to see that true morality is not about conforming to societal expectations, but about understanding and valuing humanity and friendship. Themes and legacy. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn is more than a story of friendship and adventure. It's a critique of the racism, hypocrisy, and moral contradictions in American society. Huck's evolving relationship with Jim challenges the deeply ingrained prejudices of his time, and his decision to follow his conscience over social expectations reflects Twain's belief in individual moral responsibility. Huck's decision to break away from civilization at the end of the novel symbolizes Twain's challenge to societal norms and his call for individuals to forge their own paths. The novel, widely regarded as one of the great American novels, has been both celebrated for its progressive messages and criticized for its controversial portrayal of race. But ultimately, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn remains a timeless exploration of freedom, friendship, and the journey toward self-awareness.